Hi, Bartek. Will you need to screen share? Hi, Sarah.
I think I'm good today, Lisa. Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Hello, hi Carol. Hi Sarah.
Hello.
Hi Lisa.
Okay, the time is 6:37. Call the meeting, the monthly meeting of the Community Development and Housing Committee. Tonight, we have two items on the agenda. Bartek, so come on up here.
Did you say like a result that's not out of permission and she's okay to like,
I didn't see it. I was,
Sarah has my permission to vote from approval?
okay.
All right. Hello, everyone. I have three updates, two of which were requested by Alderman Hirsch, so I'll start with those.
Okay.
So first, you asked for an update on the transfer of 10 properties to Rupco. Okay, so I'm going to go through the history of that resolution a little bit to give some context. So resolution 245 of 2021 authorized the transfer of 10 properties to Rupco. And written into the resolution was the expectation that they would be sold to first-time homebuyers at AMI levels below 100%. So these properties were 50 Crane, 98 Downs, 232 Elmendorf, 112 Hone, 89 Newkirk, 22 Staples, 3 Tenbrook, 4446 Franklin, 33 Franklin, and 54 Van Dusen. Also under the terms of the resolution, Rupco would pay the full amount of back taxes, and that total was 47218 and 63 cents for those 10 properties. So the update is 2 of the 10 properties have been transferred to Rupco, meaning they were ready to close on them. And those properties are 50 Crane and 232 Elmendorf. And those 2 were sold in August of 2022. Rupco, after the August 2022 closing date, Rupco was putting basically the rest of their financing in order to be able to close on the remainder of the properties. And we were fairly close to having a closing date in spring of 2023. But the Supreme Court decision, Tyler versus Hennepin ruling, and I can go into that if we need to, halted basically all the transfers of in-rem properties, including the 8 remaining properties that were part of this Rupco batch. I worked pretty closely with Corporation Counsel and also outside counsel to try and figure out a way that would allow the city to continue to sell these properties to Rupco. That involved a court order. And we were successful in obtaining that court order in August of 2024. So basically we are now good to go in terms of transferring those properties over to Rupco. And we are now basically waiting to hear from Rupco on the potential closing date. They had to, given the delay, they had to redo some of, or not redo, but seek reapproval for some of the funding, including from the state. So then they're, but, you know, they're now in a position to finally receive the properties. I will say that we entered into a license agreement with Lefco earlier this year, basically allowing them to start doing some pre-development work on the properties, and rehab as needed on some of the properties. So they've also been doing that, even though they don't formally have.
So how long, or how far out are they then on all of these once they obtain them to?
I mean, so the 3 of the 10 properties, 33 Franklin, 44, 46 Franklin, and 54 Van Dusen, the city had some funding
Right,
from New York State to do some initial work. And so my office has completed architectural and structural plans for the properties, completed internal demo, did environmental remediation. But that's just 3 of the 8. So it's, you know, some pre-development, development work, and might be. Repco would be better maybe positioned to answer that question specifically, but based on my experience with these homes, it's probably 1 to 2 years.
okay. What was the timeline again between our passing the resolution and then
So,
the
this-
Hennepin decision?
yeah, so this was resolution 245 of 2021. I'm guessing since because of the number, that was probably late in the year 2021. And then the Tyler Hennepin ruling was May 2020.
Anybody ever wants to read my law review article on top of it?
Yeah.
I can write a law review article on it.
Okay.
If you're like, you have insomnia and need sleep.
Any other questions on that region project?
No, thank you.
Anybody have any questions for Bartek? And you're off the hook, I guess.
Okay, well, there's more.
Yeah.
So the second project update was the tiny homes project. So these are 2 city-owned lots on Cedar and Franklin Street. The original RFP, Family Woodstock was the winner of that RFP to construct tiny homes on the properties.
Can you say the date again? I can't remember how, like,
That RFP was before my time,
okay.
even.
So that was,
During
well, not,
COVID.
no, it was after COVID, because we were on the
Displacement.
yeah, the anti-displacement team, we came up with it, and that started COVID year and was like a year-long process. So it must have been late 21 or early 22. When did you come in?
January 2022.
So it must have been late
Yeah.
21.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was right before you came in.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that would make sense with the anti-displacement team.
Yeah, so I mean, I think with the original RFP, and the models that were included in there, that the family was to build were, you know, not really feasible, to build. So we have had to pivot. We do now have, construction plans, full architectural construction plans that have been bid out. And we are expecting 3 different contractors to bid on those plans. One bid has been received. So that is moving along quite quickly. It will be 2 units on the Franklin Street property and 1 unit on the Cedar Street property.
So, how did we pay for the construction plans?
There was other support that Family of Woodstock found to help pay for the construction plans.
Okay,
Thus, the city's allocation of the funds have not been spent yet, because those will be going toward programmatic support and to help furnish the units once they're actually built.
Is
Alright,
that the
then-
money from the anti-displacement? So we didn't, okay, so we were able to, there was a worry that we would lose that, so we
Nope.
have it.
It's allocated, and we have it.
Great, can you remind me how much we?
I want to say it's 225.
That sounds about right.
Yeah.
And then Family Woodstock is still going to run the program?
Exactly.
Okay.
Sarah, Sarah, you have a question?
Tara, not Sarah, Tara.
Oh,
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm having a difficult time hearing you. So I know you mentioned something about the AMI for the Repco properties that had been transferred to them. What was the AMI that you mentioned and is that still in place?
Yes, so the original resolution that authorized transfer of the properties to Repco stated that they had to be sold, the 10 properties had to be sold to first-time home buyers at AMI levels below 100%. And that is still in place under the resolution.
Okay, thank you.
anyone else have a question? Questions?
How many units was the tiny homes again?
So it's 2 on Franklin and 1 on Cedar.
Okay.
There was also going to be 2 units on the Cedar Street parcel, but basically it's so narrow that we could not fit the site.
So 3 is the total that we're going with.
These are both 78 Franklin and 81 Cedar are very narrow, smaller buildings.
If it goes well, it'd be great to find another parcel in the city of Kingston, but
Yes.
Yeah, I was gonna ask if there was any of those properties like we were discussing the other night about the interim process, if any of them.
Potentially, yes. Mhm. Unfortunately, the city, other than the ones we all know about, the city doesn't have other vacant parcels, especially like within more of the urbanized area. Any questions on tiny homes?
How many square feet will we be?
I don't remember, I want to say just under 1,000 each.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Funny.
not too bad, yeah. They're meant for, the target population is single parent households. It has been from the start and continues to be. So there's an expectation that, there'll be kids.
and that was one of the goals of the anti-displacement team, that we felt very strongly to have something for single families, or single parent
And
families.
what's the AMI target for the tiny homes?
There's not necessarily in my target because it'll be based on family replace, families in danger of displacement.
Or displaced?
Or displaced, right? So they maybe live in emergency housing or they're about to be evicted. But there isn't, we do have an agreement with Family of Woodstock that I can share with you as a follow-up that states the certain criteria by which family will place families in the units, but there's no AMI target.
Good, thank you.
Okay, my final update for the resolution is I spoke previously to you all about the relationship that I now have with the Center for Public Enterprise to explore a public mixed-use development option in the city of Kingston. And so that relationship has been great and our work is continuing. And you might have seen, we've scheduled a information session on December 6th. That is meant for possible development partners that would be interested in working with the city on such a model. And the purpose of that is to gather information from potential partners, which will be helpful as we continue to build out what this model will look like. So just wanted to note that.
What time is that information session?
It is at noon on the 6th. Any questions?
Do they have anything?
That's all set. I'm all set with my update.
All right, cool. All right, you're on for number 2 here too.
Okay, so as we all know, the city is currently contemplating an eminent domain action along Garrigan and Broadway. And we did hold a public hearing on that last month. There is a need to start the seeker process for that possible action, or proposed action. And so the resolution in front of this committee is for that purpose. And it basically says that the Common Council proposes to be the lead agency for that environmental review pursuant to seeker. And it also states that the proposed action, meaning the acquisition of the properties as well as the development of the properties, would be a type 1 action under seeker. And under seeker, anything over 200 housing units is a type 1 action. So this is a defined type 1 action. So that is the resolution tonight.
It is over 200? I thought it was 200.
The proposed is approximately 200.
So just procedural, first step.
Yes.
Procedural.
Anybody have any questions? We do have a committee report that we have to vote on. Any questions before I read that?
No question.
Okay, all right.
I have a question.
Okay, go ahead, Sarah.
Yeah, Bartek, I was reading through the seeker form and I noticed that the timeline goes from 2024 to 2029.
Yes.
So how do you envision the different phases taking place?
Yes, so it would be developed under the zoning code as a walkable neighborhood plan, which is
Uh-huh.
essentially kind of a master plan, so you will. And so it really depends on how the financing for the development ends up coming together. Because it could mean that the project will ultimately be built in phases, which would stretch out the timeline.
Mhm.
And I've also seen that housing projects and projects of this scale have a considerable pre-development timeline. And so that would certainly be the case for this one. And so that would be, if the Common Council goes forward with the eminent domain procedure, that would be my estimate for the overall development timeline.
Thank
Okay.
you. And just another question. I saw that there was a history of contamination on the site. What kind of contamination was that? I mean, it certainly didn't seem serious, but I'm just curious.
Yeah, it's not serious, but prior to urban renewal, right, as we all know, this was a mixed-use business district, and some of the commercial uses on the site involved dry cleaning, automobile-related uses, and so there's potentially some unresolved issues from urban renewal that should be reviewed prior to any development. But you're correct, based on the initial phase 1, it's nothing major, it's just more or less what we would expect given the history on the site.
Okay, let's see if I had another question here. So will an environmental impacts statement be required as part of this type 1 action?
That's a little bit up to the Common Council in future resolutions.
Okay.
However, and based on the environmental review. So I'll leave it at that.
All right, thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Sorrel, anything? Everybody good? Okay, read the committee report. A resolution of the Common Council of the City of Kingston classifying a certain project as a type 1 action and declaring the intent as the City of Kingston Common Council to be the lead agency for the purpose of coordinated review pursuant to the state environmental of the act.
Second?
Any further discussion?
Just don't forget that you need Sarah's permission to sign and Terrell doesn't have permission.
Terrell's not,
Yes.
She's
not on the committee. Oh.
she's not replacing somebody, right?
Jean?
Oh. Okay. Yeah.
I do just have a question. So for our last seeker resolution regarding the pipe plan, we named the pipe plan in the title of the resolution. Why is this a certain project?
Well, if I believe it defines the project in the whereas clauses.
Yeah, it
But
gives us.
I'm certain it's, there's no specific reason
Okay,
that's not named.
thank you.
Okay, it is a good question. I was kind of wondering that myself. But,
Because
okay,
it's multiple parcels.
we have a motion by Michael, or by Michelle, second by Michael. Favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone
You just have
opposed?
to ask Sarah permission.
The what?
Ask Sarah permission to sign.
Oh, okay. I thought I had permission already by virtue of you saying she could do this. Sarah, do I have your permission to mark you down as in favor?
Yes, you do.
Okay, thank you.
Stick with
Thank
her.
you.
Okay. All right, I did say anyone against? Okay, unanimous.
Thank you.
Steve, can I
Thank you,
just,
Bartek.
one announcement? May I make one announcement?
You certainly may.
Thank you. So the affordable housing zoning amendment that Michael and I submitted that came to this committee, and we referred out to the planning boards, now has to go for a public hearing. But due to the way the code is currently written, it has to go, it will be a public hearing by the Laws and Rules Committee. But if we can also attend, that would be great. It will be December 18th at 5:30 PM before Laws and Rules next month. But then, after that, it would come back to this committee for deliberation.
I mean, if you're on laws and rules, you have to be there.
I think so. It's just for me.
I'll be there. Thanks for the date.
Yeah.
Yes, I'll be there as well, Michelle.
Thanks. Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, second, okay. Everybody have a very nice holiday. Enjoy your Thanksgiving.
Bye, everyone.
We will see
Good
you
night.
next week.
A question for you too.